Right now, your brain is showing you the story of your life. Scroll back to the start of it. You hit a wall. The story just begins, somewhere around age 3, like it was always there. But it wasn't always there. Behind that wall are the years your brain quietly deleted. And here's the lie you never caught. Your brain hid the hole so well, you forgot it was missing. You were there for those years. You were alive. Your eyes were open the whole time. But where the first years of your life should be, there is just nothing. This blankness has a name. Scientists call it childhood amnesia. And here is the first strange part. It happens to almost every human alive. Most adults remember basically nothing before the age of 3 or 4. And very little before about 7, whole years, gone. Researcher Carol Peterson has studied this for decades. Her work suggests the average earliest memory sits around age 3 to 3.5. So before roughly 3, your own life is a black screen you cannot rewind to. Now you might think, well, babies just can't form memories yet. Makes sense. That is completely wrong. And this is where it gets fascinating. Babies are learning machines. They learn constantly at a terrifying speed. In your first years, you learn to recognize faces, to sit, to crawl, to stand. You learn to walk on 2 legs, which is genuinely hard. And you learned an entire language out of thin air, from nothing. That is more learning than most adults do in a decade, so memory clearly works. So if babies can learn that much, why is it all erased? Here is the key. There are different kinds of memory, and only one of them goes missing. One kind is knowing how to do things, walking, talking, riding a bike. That kind survives. You never forget how to walk. Babies keep all of it. But there is another kind, the kind that makes you, you. Scientists call it autobiographical memory, the story of your life. It's the memory of specific moments. This happened to me on that day. First day of school, a birthday, the time you fell off your bike. That is the memory that is missing from your baby years. And the question is why? To answer that, we have to go inside the brain, to one tiny part. Deep in your brain sits a small curled shape called the hippocampus. Think of it as the part that records new life events and files them away. Without it, you cannot lay down new memories of what just happened to you. Here is the catch. In a baby, the hippocampus is still under construction. It is immature, not fully wired up. The recorder is barely switched on. Neurons inside it are still sprouting new branches, still finding each other. A memory needs a stable network to sit in. The baby's network is still rearranging itself. So even though life is happening, the part that files it isn't ready yet. But wait, an immature recorder isn't the whole story, not even close. Because here is the genuinely weird part. The baby brain might be deleting on purpose. In the infant brain, brand new brain cells are being born at an explosive rate. This is called neurogenesis, a flood of fresh neurons, especially in the hippocampus. You would think more brain cells means more memory, but research suggests the opposite. Scientists Franklin and Jocelyn explored this idea in animals. In mouse studies, pumping up new neuron growth seemed to wipe out existing memories. Each new cell has to wire itself into the circuit, and that rewiring disturbs what was already stored. The flood of new cells appears to scramble the wiring that held the old memory. It's like rebuilding the bookshelf so fast that the old books fall off and scatter. Now, this is mostly animal work, so scientists are still careful here. We can't run the same experiments on babies, so for humans, it stays a strong hint, not proof. But it hints at something wild. Your baby brain may have grown so fast, it erased itself. So an unfinished recorder, plus a self-erasing brain. We're getting closer. But there's still something missing. Something that isn't about brain cells at all. Think about what an autobiographical memory actually needs. It needs a main character, a me, a self that things happen to. Babies are not born with a strong sense of self. It develops slowly. There's a classic test for this, using a mirror and a dot of paint. Researchers secretly put a dot of rouge on a baby's nose, then sit them at a mirror. A very young baby reaches for the mirror. It doesn't realize that's me. But somewhere around 18 to 24 months, something clicks. The toddler reaches for the dot on its own face instead of the mirror. That moment is huge. It means a self has switched on. There is now a me. And that timing lines up neatly with when autobiographical memory becomes possible at all. Because without a me at the center, a memory has nowhere to attach. But a sense of self is only half of what was missing. Here is the other half. Language, the ability to wrap an experience in words. To store a life event, your brain seems to need to turn it into a tiny story. First this happened, then that happened, and it made me feel this way. Before you had words, you had no way to tie a moment into a story. So the moments happened, but they had nothing to hold them together. And this leads to one of the most surprising findings of all. How your parents talked to you may have shaped how far back you can remember. Research suggests kids whose parents reminisce in rich detail tend to have earlier first memories. Parents who ask, "What did you see? How did you feel? And where were we?" Those rich conversations seem to teach the child how to build memories into stories. So part of your memory may depend on the people who narrated your childhood to you. And that points to something even bigger. Your culture shapes this too. The average age of a person's earliest memory varies across cultures. Research suggests it shifts depending on how families talk about the past. Where the past is told as rich personal stories, first memories tend to come earlier. The focus leans more toward the group than the individual. First memories can come a little later. So your first memory isn't just biology, it is partly the world that raised you. Step back, because here is the part most people never realize. Your autobiographical memory is not a recording of your life. It is a story your brain writes. It decides what to keep, what to drop, and how to connect the dots into a smooth tale. And the very first thing that story does is hide its own missing beginning. It starts the tale at chapter 3 and never tells you chapters 1 and 2 are gone. That seamless start you trust so much is the brain quietly editing out the whole. But now we have to confront something uncomfortable about the memories you do have. Think of your earliest memory, the one you are sure is real. Here's the strange part. There's a good chance you never actually remembered it. A lot of early memories are quietly rebuilt from photos and family stories. You saw the photo 100 times, you heard the story told and retold, and slowly your brain stitched it into a memory that feels like your own. In studies, people can even form vivid memories of events that never actually happened to them. But you weren't remembering the day, you were remembering the story of the day. This works because memory is not a recording. It is reconstructive. Every time you remember anything, your brain rebuilds it from scattered pieces. And it happily fills the gaps with whatever fits, even borrowed details. So a vivid early memory can feel completely real and still be partly invented. Which raises a haunting question. If you can't remember those years, did they matter? And here is where it turns around, because the answer is a quiet yes. You can't replay your first years, but you are standing on top of them right now. In those forgotten years, your brain was wiring itself at a furious pace. You learned that faces mean safety, that a voice means comfort. You learned whether the world was a place you could trust. Those lessons didn't fade. They became the foundation underneath everything you are. The way you love, the way you feel safe, the way you reach for people. You can't see the bricks, but you live inside the house they built. No, you didn't lose those years. You just can't open the photo album. Because you are not the recording of your childhood. You are the result of it. Every forgotten moment quietly shaped the person reading these words right now. You are the proof that those years happened, the living evidence. So the next time the start of your life feels like a black screen, remember, it isn't empty. It is the part of the building you are no longer meant to see. You don't see your real life. You see the story your brain writes about it. Deleted beginning was one of its lies, a kind one, but a lie all the same. Follow Mindstuff, and I'll show you the next lie your brain is telling you right now.